Rain hit the metal shell of the crashed escape pod, hissing as it turned to steam. Smoke rose slowly in the dim purple light of the alien jungle. Commander Jace Walker wiped blood from his forehead and reached for his rifle, eyes scanning the dense trees. He couldn't tell what planet this was. The war had scattered them across unknown stars. He wasn't alone. Inside the pod, curled up and unconscious, lay a strange girl with glowing lines under her pale skin. Her gown was torn, her silver crown cracked. But even wounded, she looked different. Her features were delicate, almost human, but her eyes, when they fluttered open for a second, shimmered like stars. Jace didn't recognize her. But she had been important enough for someone to put her in a royal-class escape pod. And now she was his responsibility. Something crashed in the trees nearby. Jace crouched, lifting his rifle. He waited. No movement. No sound. The jungle had gone still, too still. He moved to close the pod door, but froze when he saw blood dripping from the princess's mouth. Her lips trembled, and her breathing slowed. She was dying. Fast. He looked around for med supplies, but the pod's systems were fried. Nothing worked. His own medical kit had been lost during the crash. There was no way to call for help. The girl stirred. Her hand reached out weakly, barely, lifting from the cold floor. Her fingers pointed at him, then pressed against her chest. Jace stepped closer. "You need help," he whispered. "But I don't know what to give you." Then something happened. Her eyes flickered open again. And this time they locked on his. In her native language, a sound like song and thunder, she said something soft. But Jace didn't understand. Still, a strange instinct hit him. A memory. One of the alien breathings from HQ, a rare species royal bloodlines that survived injuries by absorbing compatible energy sources, life essence. Sometimes. Blood. Jace hesitated. He had no proof. If he was wrong, he would be wasting precious strength in the middle of nowhere. But if he did nothing, she'd be dead in minutes. He drew his blade. "No idea if this will work," he said to her, kneeling beside the pod. "But I hope you're one of the good ones." With a quick slice, he cut into his palm. Blood dripped onto her lips. Nothing happened. Then her throat glowed. Jace watched, stunned, as her chest rose suddenly. Her skin shimmered, those glowing lines brightening like circuits being powered up. Her wounds closed slowly before his eyes. She gasped deep and sharp, and her eyes snapped open fully, glowing with fierce white light. For a moment, the pod felt too small, like her presence was growing larger, heavier. Then she whispered something. "Why would you give your life?" she asked in broken English. Jace blinked. "Because you were dying." She sat up slowly, weak but alive. "You saved royal blood," she said softly. "Now it is bound to you." "Bound?" Jace asked, stepping back slightly, but she didn't answer. Her body shook. She pressed a hand to her chest, and her fingers dug under the skin, like something was burning inside her. Light pulsed from her crown. Her voice trembled. "It begins, the change." Jace didn't know what she meant. But he knew one thing: she wasn't safe yet. And neither was he. Another crash echoed outside the pod. The creatures were coming. He grabbed her hand. "Can you walk?" She nodded, though barely. He helped her up, wrapping her arm over his shoulder. They slipped out of the broken pod and into the thick alien jungle. Behind them, black shapes with red eyes circled the crash site. Hunters. Jace had seen them once before, on a distant moon. They hunted survivors like sport. They moved quickly, ducking through thick vines and glowing roots. The alien princess limped beside him, holding tight to his arm. She didn't speak, but her eyes burned with silent energy now. Something was changing in her. The blood had done more than save her life. It had triggered something older, something hidden. They reached a rocky outcrop, hidden by a waterfall. Jace led her behind it. The hunters sniffed the air nearby, growling. He held her close, one hand gripping his rifle, the other on the pulse wound in his palm. She leaned against him, trembling, but not with weakness now. Her skin radiated heat. Her breath came faster. She looked up at him suddenly. "When the change is complete," she whispered, "I will not be the same. I will be chosen." Jace stared into her glowing eyes. "Chosen for what?" She smiled faintly. "You." Lightning flashed across the sky dot, and for the first time since the war began, Jace felt fear he didn't understand. Jace didn't sleep that night. He sat with his rifle across his lap, listening to every sound in the jungle. The alien princess lay beside him on a bed of moss and leaves. Her breathing was quiet now, steady. But her body glowed faintly with a strange white light dot. It wasn't just a recovery. Something inside her was changing. He remembered her words. "I will not be the same. I will be chosen." He didn't know what that meant, but the way she said it haunted him. By morning, the glow had spread from her veins to her skin. Her hands shimmered with power, and her eyes, once dim and weak, now burned like the stars. She stood before sunrise without help. Her wounds were gone, and her hair, once tangled and dirty, now floated around her shoulders like strands of light. She looked royal, dangerous, not just healed, reborn. When she opened her mouth, her voice was stronger, more human-like, but still had a soft echo, like two voices speaking at once. "You gave what no one else dared," she said. Jace kept his distance. "I didn't know it would do all this. I just didn't want you to die. You offered your blood. That means more than you understand." He narrowed his eyes. "Then explain it to me." She looked toward the sky, where strange red clouds rolled across the horizon. "My people are old. We live long, but our powers fade unless we bond. It has not happened for many generations." "Bond?" She turned to face him fully. "The royal blood awakens when it joins with another life forms. Will, you didn't just save me. You awakened the bloodline inside me." Jace didn't like how serious her tone was. "So what now? Are you some kind of weapon?" "No," she said. "I am becoming what I was meant to be. A queen, a protector, a mate." His stomach tightened. "You don't even know me." "But my blood does," she said gently. "It chose. The bond is not something I control." Before he could speak again, a loud screech tore through the trees. The hunters were back. Jace spun around, raising his weapon. He saw them moving between the trees, tall, thin, reptile-like creatures with 6 glowing red eyes and sharp claws. They moved fast and silent like shadows. The princess stepped forward, her glowing body now pulsing like a heartbeat. "You cannot fight them alone," she said. "I wasn't planning to," Jace replied, loading his rifle. But before he could fire, she raised both hands. Light burst from her palms and swept across the jungle like a wave. Trees bent back. Leaves turned to ash. The ground shook. The hunters stopped. Then, with another scream, they charged. Jace fired, but he knew it wasn't enough. The princess stepped into their path. Her crown lit up with a deep violet glow. She moved with inhuman speed, grabbing the first hunter by the throat. Her hand burned like fire. The creature screamed and turned to dust in seconds. 2 more leaped at her, claws raised. Jace took one down with a shot to the neck. The princess took the other with a pulse from her chest, an explosion of energy that knocked it into the trees. She stood tall, glowing, powerful, and calm. The other hunters backed away, then fled. Silence returned to the jungle. Jace stood still, staring at her. "What was that?" She looked at her hands. "I told you. I am changing. This is the true form of my people. But the change only comes through sacrifice." He looked down at his hand. The blood he gave her had sealed something deeper than he imagined. "I didn't agree to any of this," he said. "You didn't need to," she whispered. the blood does not lie. You were chosen because your will is strong. Your soul is brave. That is rare in any world. He sat down slowly, tired and confused. So now what? She looked far into the jungle. There are others who will sense this power. They will come for me, and for you. Jace raised an eyebrow. Why me? Because you gave me life, she said. And now, I must protect. Yours. He looked into her glowing eyes. In them, he saw both beauty and danger. A powerful being had awakened. And somehow, he was part of it. The war had thrown him into chaos. But now it felt like something greater was pulling him forward. And the next chapter was just beginning. Asterisk. The air had changed. Jace could feel it in his bones. A pressure like a storm building far away, but somehow aimed at them. The alien princess walked silently beside him, her long silver gown flowing like mist through the thick undergrowth. Every step she took left faint glows in the moss, like her very blood was light. They had traveled for hours, deeper into the wild parts of the jungle. She said it was safer out here. But Jace wasn't sure. The trees were taller, the creatures stranger, and shadows moved where no light should be. What are we walking into? He asked. Not into, she replied. Toward, he frowned. That's the same thing. She turned her glowing eyes on him. No, one means you're lost. The other means you know where you're going. Jace fell quiet. A moment later, the princess slowed. She held out her hand, stopping him. Look, she said softly. Ahead, the jungle opened into a large clearing. At the center stood a black stone structure, old, broken, and half covered in vines. It looked like a temple, though no human design could explain its angles. Symbols glowed on the outer stones, shifting slowly like they were breathing. What is this place? Jace asked. It's where I was born, she whispered. Before the war, before everything. My people built it to protect the royal blood. And now it calls me back. Jace stepped forward cautiously. The air was thick and warm. Energy crackled at the edge of his vision. You said others would come for you. You mean from your people? No, she said, voice tight. Not my people, the ones who tried to kill me. The ones who want the throne. They know I survived. And they'll track you here. Yes. Jace tightened his grip on his weapon. So it's a trap? No, it's a challenge. She walked to the base of the temple and pressed her hand against the glowing stone. A hum rose through the air. The earth beneath them shifted. Light raced along the stone lines, up into the sky. Suddenly, she staggered. Jace rushed to her. What's wrong? She fell to her knees. Her skin burned hot under his touch. Light pulsed from her chest, her arms, her back. It's starting again, she gasped. The second phase. The true form. It's waking. Jace held her steady. Her body trembled in his arms. Her voice cracked as she spoke. My blood is no longer mine. It's fused with yours. You changed me, Jace Walker. I didn't mean to, he said. But you did, she replied, eyes glowing. And now I must carry what you are. Inside what I become. Before he could ask more, her body arched and a wave of light exploded from her, knocking him back. She rose to her feet slowly, different. Now her skin shimmered like silver glass. Her hair floated behind her, longer, alive with light. Her hands crackled with energy. Even her eyes were no longer stars, they were galaxies. She stepped forward. Steady, powerful. I am the air now, she said calmly. They will come, and I will not run. Just then, a sound like thunder echoed from above. A large alien vessel broke through the clouds and hovered low above the jungle. Its underbelly opened, and figures descended armored, sharp, fast. Black armor, crimson masks, hunters, soldiers, assassins. Jace raised his rifle. They found us. The princess didn't move. Let them come. Jace turned to her, wide-eyed. You can't face them all alone. I'm not alone, she said. She reached for his hand out as her fingers touched his. The same energy ran into his skin. It burned, but not in pain something. Ancient, like being rewired. You are bonded, she said. And now, you will feel what I feel. Jace's eyes glowed faintly. His body surged with power. The enemy touched down. Jace and the princess stood side by side, and the ground itself began to tremble. The jungle exploded into chaos. The first enemy soldier charged through the trees with a roar, blades out and glowing red. Jace moved before he even thought. His rifle came up, and he fired a burst straight into the creature's chest. It flew back and hit a tree so hard the trunk cracked in half. He blinked. That wasn't normal. He looked down at his hands. His arms were glowing faintly, just like hers. He could feel her inside him, her blood, her energy. His heart beat faster, stronger, louder. The bond was real. You gave me your blood, the alien princess said, her voice calm and deep, almost echoing. Now it runs through you too. Jace looked up. More soldiers dropped from the ship above, landing in groups of 3s and 4s. They circled the temple slowly, forming a trap. The princess walked past him and raised her arms. Waves of white-blue energy spread from her fingertips, cutting through the sky like lightning made of sound. 2 soldiers turned to ash where they stood. A 3rd screamed and dropped his weapon. But more came, too many. Jace ducked behind a broken stone wall and fired again. His aim was faster than ever, his reflexes sharp. He dodged, rolled, reloaded like he had trained for this moment all his life. One soldier leapt toward him with twin blades raised. Before Jace could fire, a flash of silver crashed into the enemy, throwing him aside like a toy. The princess stood there, floating just above the ground, eyes glowing, hair dancing like it was caught in a silent wind. Touch him again, she said, and I'll erase your entire line. The soldier tried to crawl away. She crushed him. With a single pulse from her palm, Jace caught his breath. I thought you were royalty. I didn't know you were a weapon. She turned to him, her voice suddenly soft. A queen must be both. They fought side by side, defending the temple with everything they had. Jace noticed something strange whenever they got too far apart. The glow in his body dimmed. But when they stayed close, it returned. Stronger. You said we're bonded. Jace said while reloading. What happens if I die? She didn't hesitate. Then so do I. That answer hit him harder than any enemy. He looked at her closely. Is that why you're protecting me? No, she said. I protect you because I want to. More ships appeared above. Smaller ones. Fast attackers dropped from their sides. Black-winged drones flew down like metal birds, dropping bombs near the temple wall. A blast threw Jace backwards. He landed hard, head spinning. He saw smoke, dust, and fire. Then her voice. Jace! He opened his eyes. The princess was running to him, her hands glowing like burning stars. She knelt beside him, touching his face. The pain disappeared instantly. I can't let you fall, she whispered. Jace sat up. There's too many, we can't win. Yes, she said, but we don't need to. She stood, her chest rising with deep breath. They want the bloodline, she said. Then let them see what it truly is. She stepped forward onto the broken battlefield. The enemies paused. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. She closed her eyes. Then she screamed. It wasn't pain, it was power. Her voice echoed through the jungle and sky. Light exploded from her body. Everything glowed: her skin, her gown, the crown on her head. Even the broken temple walls lit up with ancient runes. The attackers froze. Jace shielded his eyes. And then they knelt. Every single enemy knelt. The soldiers dropped their weapons. The drones shut down and fell to the ground. The ship above turned away and fled through the clouds. She looked at Jace. her face calm again. "They were never loyal to the throne," she said, "but they remember what true power feels like. They remember fear." Jace walked to her, slowly, still stunned. What are you now?" she smiled faintly. "I am the blood reborn." The jungle was silent again. Jace looked around at the ashes, the stunned enemy warriors on their knees, the glowing ruins of the temple. "I thought I was just saving a girl," he said quietly. She stepped closer to him. "And I thought I would die forgotten." She touched his chest gently. "But now, we're something more." He looked into her glowing eyes, and for the first time, he didn't feel lost. He felt chosen. The silence after battle was always strange. Too calm. Too clean. Jace sat on a stone ledge near the edge of the glowing temple, watching smoke rise from the shattered forest below. The sky was turning orange now. Evening was falling over them. Jungle world. The alien soldiers had fled or bowed. Not because they wanted peace, but because they feared her. The princess. She stood in the center of the ruins, her silver dress glowing in the fading light. Her hair moved with the wind, and her crown shined like a star. Her eyes weren't just bright now, they burned with purpose. She was no longer just a girl, trying to survive. She was something much more. Jace could feel it, but he also felt something else. A cold weight in his chest. The power she gave him, no, the power they shared, was changing him. His muscles ached even when he rested. His heartbeat was faster. His skin felt warm to the touch, glowing sometimes even in shadow. He wasn't just human anymore. And deep inside, he didn't know if that scared him or thrilled him. The princess walked over, her face calm, but her steps slow, tired. "You shouldn't push yourself," he said. "I must," she replied softly. "The bond is still forming, and the final phase is coming." He looked at her, worried. "What happens in the final phase?" She looked away. "I will be reborn one more time, fully, as queen, as ruler. But only if you survive," he frowned. "What does my life have to do with your rebirth?" "Because I carry your blood," she said. "You are the source. If you die before the bond settles, I will lose myself." That hit Jace harder than he expected. "All this time I thought I was helping you," he said quietly. "But I'm the anchor holding you together." "No," she said gently. "You are the reason I found strength. You gave freely, without asking for anything. My people forgot what that means." She stepped closer, her fingers brushing his. "You reminded me." Jace stared at her, his voice low. "And what if I'm not ready to be part of something this big? I'm just a soldier. A survivor." She leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. "Then survive for me, just a little longer." Suddenly, a new sound echoed in the sky. Another ship, but this one was different, sleek, silent, pure white metal. It hovered above the temple, unmoving. The princess looked up sharply. Her face darkened. "It's the High Council," she said. "They've come to see if I'm truly reborn." Jace raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like a good thing." She shook her head. "They didn't come to honor me. They came to test me. And if they think the bond is a threat, they will try to end it." Jace stood up. "Then we run." "We can't," she said. "Running proves we are weak. I must face them." "What about me?" She looked into his eyes. "If they see your blood in me and see what it's done, they will want to erase you." The ship began to lower. A soft light beam touched the ground near the temple. 5 figures stepped down, tall, graceful, their faces hidden behind glowing masks. Each wore robes of silver and gold, and their presence felt heavy, like the air bent around them. The princess stood tall, walking toward them. Jace followed. "Let me talk," she whispered. "Let me protect you." But as they reached the center of the stone floor, one of the council members raised a hand. "You have awakened," he said in a smooth, deep voice. But we sense contamination. The princess stiffened. This human saved me, gave his blood. That is not contamination, it is sacrifice. Another voice replied, cold. His blood changes you. Makes you less. No, she snapped. It makes me complete. They looked at Jace now. You are not of our kind, the tallest one said. You are not meant to shape our future. Jace stepped forward, his heart pounding. I didn't ask for this. But I won't run. If she dies, I die. So if you want to test her, he raised his rifle slowly. You'll go through me first. The princess turned toward him in shock. And for the first time, she smiled with pride. The council didn't move at first. They stood like statues, glowing masks hiding their faces, robes silent in the wind. But the power around them was heavy, ancient, dangerous. Jace didn't flinch. He kept his rifle raised, even though part of him knew it wouldn't be enough. But it wasn't about the weapon. It was about the message. He would stand between them and her, no matter what. The princess stepped beside him. Her arm brushed his, and the bond between them pulsed stronger than ever. For a moment, the temple stones glowed under their feet. The jungle held its breath. He is part of me now, she said. You may not accept it, but the bond is done. One of the counselors moved forward slowly. He is human, fragile, short-lived. His presence will weaken you. No, she said firmly. His presence awakened me. Without him, I would be dead. Without him, this power would still sleep. She turned her glowing eyes toward Jace. And without him, I would still be alone. The oldest counselor raised his hand. A swirling light gathered above his palm, bright, deadly, humming with judgment. If the bond is real, he said, then the final trial must begin. You will either rise or both fall. The light blasted toward them. Jace reached to shield her, but she moved first. She wrapped her arms around him and pulled him into a deep embrace. Their foreheads touched. Her voice whispered in his mind, trust me, give me everything. One last time. And he did. He gave her everything, his fear, his pain, his strength, his will. Her body lit with pure white light. The beam from the council hit them and shattered. A wave exploded outward from their bodies, rushing over the temple like a tidal force. The council was knocked backward. Trees bent, stones cracked. Even the ship above trembled. When the light faded, the temple was quiet again. The princess stood alone, her gown torn, her crown now blazing with color. But she didn't fall. She breathed. Alive, changed. Jace lay at her feet. She knelt quickly. His eyes fluttered open, weak but breathing. I thought. He whispered. You live, she said softly. But the bond is finished now. You gave the last piece, and I became whole. He smiled faintly. Did we win? She touched his face gently. We became more than victory. The council rose, stunned. One of them removed his mask, a rare act of respect. You are queen. Now, he said slowly, not just in name, but by right. She nodded. Then hear my first command. They bowed. Jace tried to sit up, wincing. So, what happens now? She looked at him for a long moment, and then offered her hand. I build a future, she said, and I want you beside me. He took her hand. Guess I'm not just a soldier anymore. No, she whispered. You are the one who changed a queen. As they stepped forward together, light returned to the temple, not the light of war. Not of destruction, but the light of something new. A bond that saved a life, a queen and a human, together.